next person I'm going to invite is no other than Saudara Todipua Damansara, Member of Parliament.
Saudara Anthony Lok, Setiausaha Agong DAP, Saudara Abang Mat Sabu, Presiden Parti Amanah Negara, Saudara Gobind Singh, ahli-ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri, Rajiv, Yi Wei, Jamalia, dan rakan baik saya, Saudari Yobin, bukan Saudari Hanayo, orang yang berlainan. Salam sejahtera, selamat malam, salam harapan, Tajia Wan Shang Hao. Welcome back. Welcome back to the political trail. Welcome back to our first DAP fundraising dinner for many, many years. Thanks to COVID, we could not meet everyone. Thanks to COVID, we could not organize events like this. But now that normalization has started, it is time to kick off the campaign again, and we hope that tonight will be the first of many, many nights in the months to come where we create momentum, we build up the spirit, we fight for change, and we create history once again in GE15. In 2018, we created history for the first time. 2018, when we talk about it today, seems like a long, long time ago. So many things have happened. The government was overthrown, COVID took place, problems arise in our lives, in our economy. Politics is something that we don't think about anymore. But 2018 was important. 2018 was the proof that we needed to show to everyone in this country, in fact, everyone in the world, that we could make the impossible possible. And we did our best. As many of the speakers before me have stated, we have worked hard. We have worked extremely hard. And I didn't pay Bean to say all the things she said, but I will tell you myself, in my entire career, since I left school, started my own business, listed the company, sold the company, joined politics, I have never worked so hard in my life after winning elections in 2018, because it was a precious gift that was given to us by the people of Malaysia. I wanted to make every single day that we were in government to count, so that we can prove to all Malaysians that Pakatan Harapan is a much better government than Barisan Nasional. We have delivered a lot. And I think sometimes we believe too much in the negative press. In fact, I think even our own members, don't talk about supporters, some of our own members believe too much in the negative press, which is controlled by the other side, that focused overwhelmingly on the negatives. Just my office alone, I was the political secretary to the Minister of Finance, Lim Guan Eng. So I only talk about things that we did in my office. Don't talk about what Yobi In did in Mesdat. I don't need to talk about what Gobind Singh did in, what's the ministry called again? Ministry of Communications. I don't need to talk about what Abang Mat Sabu did while he was the Minister of Defense, or Saudara Anthony Lok in the Ministry of Transport. I just want to talk a little bit of what I did in the Ministry of Finance. We all know when we took over government that we didn't take over a government with a lot of money in the bank. Memang tak cukup duit. Memang hutang berbilion-bilion ringgit. Bukan berbilion-bilion ringgit. Hutang kerajaan beratus-ratus bilion ringgit. Dan bila kita masuk, kita periksa, kita cek semua akaun dalam kerajaan, kita dapat tahu sebenarnya hutang kerajaan bukan berbilion-bilion ringgit. Hutang kerajaan lebih daripada 1 trilion ringgit. So kalau kita nak buat baik untuk rakyat, we want to deliver our promises to the people. Money don't go on trees. We have to be creative. We have to be able to squeeze whatever we have so that we can deliver better services to the people, so that we can deliver our promises to the people. I worked with the private sector, the insurance companies, to figure out how a private fund can be created, contributed by the insurance companies, so that this fund can help the poor B40s when they suffer from critical illness. They do not have funds to help them treat their disease, whether it is cancer of the lungs or cancer of the pancreas or other forms of critical illness. We raised 2 billion ringgit, and we were on the way to raise more than 2 billion ringgit more on top of the 2 that we already got, in order to help the B40 and subsequently the M40 in our society. That's not a small amount of money. Under Lim Guan Eng, one of the most lasting policies he announced and implemented under our budgets, some may take it for granted, is the promotion of a digital economy. The e-wallets. You would remember, some even laugh, everyone got 30 ringgit or 35 ringgit or 50 ringgit in their e-wallets in order to spend. The 50 ringgit or 30 ringgit that you get, yes, the amount is not big, but it is something for everyone in Malaysia. But more importantly, and perhaps a little bit prescient in nature, it created the digital transaction movement in Malaysia that came before COVID, such that today, every one of you have a digital wallet in your phone. Today, I go out now with no wallet, just my handphone. I can go anywhere, I can talk to anyone, I can pay for everything. It was the transformation of the economy that helped in a lot of ways that you don't see. The transactions become more efficient. No, you don't have to carry cash, you don't have to go to banks, banks don't have to count all your cash. All these are efficiency processes that helps the economy grow and develop. And this policy is so lasting that even the current government is using the same mechanism in order to deliver and continue to deliver aid to the people of Malaysia. Then one of the most difficult tasks that I had while I was in MOF, Bean mentioned it just now, was to restructure the toll concessions. These are contracts that have been signed by the previous government with the concessionaires. They are very, very fat contracts but they are legitimate contracts between the concessionaires and the government, nevertheless. So we have to be creative. We cannot just say we burn the contract. I never said that before elections, and I will not say that currently. Okay? We cannot cut up the contract because government has to follow the law. But we can renegotiate. We can twist a bit. We can negotiate and we can talk with the concessionaires. And I'm very proud, one of the things we managed to do just before Sheraton moved was to restructure the North-South Expressway such that we can not only immediately reduce toll fares by 18%. 18% tol dikurangkan untuk Lebuh Raya Utara Selatan, tetapi kadar tol yang dikurangkan itu akan dikekalkan selama-lamanya hingga habis konsesi. Kadar tol tidak akan naik lagi setiap 3 tahun seperti di bawah Barisan Nasional. It's the biggest difference between the way we did things and the way Najib and Barisan Nasional did things is when Najib freeze toll, don't increase toll. That's a fake freeze. Why is it a fake freeze? You don't pay the toll, higher toll, but the government pay for you. Taxpayers pay the compensation to the toll concessionaires. In our case, we reduce the toll. We perpetually freeze the toll until end of concession period, and the government doesn't pay a single cent of compensation to the toll concessionaires. In total, over the concession period, the government of Malaysia, the taxpayers of Malaysia, together with all the people who use highways, will save a total of 42 billion ringgit. That is savings for the people of Malaysia. Unfortunately, the other project that I was working on that has been announced but wasn't completed, that would have helped the people of Petaling Jaya because it involved 4 highways that was owned or partially owned by Gamuda. The LDP, Kesas, Shah Alam to KL, Sprint Highway, as well as the Smart Tunnel. We have negotiated with Gamuda. We have come to an agreement to take over the concession without costing the government any money. Government don't have to pay. The toll will pay for the acquisition itself, but we could deliver 2 things. Number 1, we can have up to 80% of up to 70% of the toll hours either reduced by 30% or free from toll altogether. We only need to collect toll for 30% of the time in full. So we could discount the toll and the government no longer need to pay any compensation to these toll concessionaires. This again will save the people of Malaysia 5.3 billion ringgit. But it didn't happen. Under Perikatan Nasional, under the current BN government, finally they followed through on the deal. So even though we didn't complete the deal, they followed through. So they are taking over the highway. The government via an entity, third-party entity, is taking over the highway. It was a good deal because the government don't have to pay compensation to these highways anymore. It will save taxpayers' money. But they are not good negotiators. They couldn't deliver what we could deliver. They could not reduce the toll that you are paying today. We would have reduced the toll by 30% and for certain off-peak hours, free from toll altogether to the people of PJ. And that is the difference between a BN government who have to follow our plan and couldn't even do as good as what we have planned. That's the highways. If we had completed these two highways, we would have moved on to other highways in operation. But we never had a chance to talk to the other highway operators. Then, of course, when we talk about saving money, now, we also look at all the mega projects. You know, last time before elections, when you see me up on stage, I always scold the government, scold Cao, how they pay so much money for project A, how they pay so much money for project B, how they pay so much money for project C, and all the crony contractors get these fat contracts and laugh all the way to the bank. Now, once we became government, it then becomes our responsibility to make sure that we can look at where the fats in these contracts could be cut, so that we can save the people money, so that this money doesn't go into Tony Pua's pocket, doesn't go into Mat Sabu's pocket, doesn't go into Gobind Singh's pocket. This money can then be returned and reused for other projects and programs for the people of Malaysia. For LRT3, the LRT from Klang to Bandar Utama, Petaling Jaya. When we came in, I was shocked. The project cost, total cost, was to exceed 32 billion ringgit. Luckily, the project hasn't started yet, hasn't really started yet. We sat down with the contractor, we reviewed the project, we renegotiated the prices, and we reduced the cost of the project from 32 billion ringgit to just under 16 billion ringgit, saving the people 15 billion ringgit, or nearly 50% of the project cost. For MRT2, that one a bit more difficult, because that one already 60% completed, 40% left. We say 60% completed, government already paid, never mind. Those paid, but those not yet paid, the 40% left, let's talk. So we talk. Finally, after some hard negotiations, I won't go into details today, some hard negotiations, we succeeded in reducing further the cost of MRT2 by 8.8 billion ringgit. You know, the negotiations was very tough. It was one of the projects that I got scolding from Tun Dr. Mahathir. That one I'll tell a bit later. But after finally cutting 8.8 billion ringgit off the contract, the boss of Gamuda was sitting next to me. I asked him, hey, cut already, still can make money? Can lah. Cut 8.8 billion ringgit, still can make money. So you can imagine, under Barisan Nasional, how much the BN government was enriching all their crony contractors around the country with projects using the taxpayers' money. And the biggest one of all was ECRL, the project that was used to cover up the 1MDB debts. We managed to cut 22 billion ringgit from the cost of ECRL. Unfortunately, and perhaps our former transport minister will be able to update us, the cost of ECRL is now going back up again under Barisan Nasional. So just these three projects alone, LRT3, MRT2, and ECRL, these three projects alone, we have saved the people of Malaysia 44 billion ringgit. This is something that I'm personally extremely proud of. It is something that I'm very happy to write in my resume and perhaps make my applications to some other companies for job. No, joking. It's a big thing. But unfortunately, in politics, these things are not enough. We did what we promised to deliver. We saved the money, but the money we cannot put in the hands of the rakyat immediately. Not possible. It is money we save that we can use in the years subsequent. What we save in 2020, we can use in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. We cannot burn the entire cash in 2020 or 2021. It is not possible. And hence, the good work that we do sometimes are not immediately felt by the people. And politics, to be honest, it is a tough job. Good things that you do, people say, that's what you're supposed to do anyway. Things that you don't do so well, or things that you haven't done yet, you get criticized heavily. And that's what happened to us in Pakatan Harapan, where the negative vibes, the negative news was overwhelming on all of us. The criticisms were loud, and even the criticisms of MOF, of my boss Lim Guan Eng, of myself were very loud. I think all of you would have read not too long ago what Tun Dr. Mahathir wrote about me in his book. If you haven't read the book, you would have read the excerpts that were published in some of the news portals out there. He said, Tony Pua, very arrogant, very not business friendly. And I can tell you it is very difficult in MOF. How is it that I'm not business friendly? I'm not business friendly because all these crony contractors find their contracts reduced because of too much fat. I'm not business friendly because when crony bosses, I can tell you, a lot of the Tan Sri, Dato Sri, with no offense intended for the Dato Sris who are here, the big crony contractors, they come to MOF very regularly. And very often they will put out feelers to see whether they can get an appointment to have lunch or dinner with Tony Pua. And very often I will find every excuse possible to siam, to lari, because nothing good will come out of it. They have direct access to my minister. They can talk directly with Lim Guan Eng. They don't need to talk to me. But they want to talk to me in the hope that I will buy into their whatever ideas they have, and then I can sweet talk my boss in order to agree to whatever proposals that he has. That is their modus operandi that they have done in the past. That was the modus operandi they were hoping to do in the Pakatan Harapan MOF government. That was not the modus operandi that I am agreeable to, because my loyalty are to the people of Malaysia and not to the cronies of Barisan Nasional. And then I have got some Tan Sri's son who will somehow successfully secure an appointment to see me in MOF to present some proposal. No, they'll come and present some proposal, and my boss Lim Guan Eng asked me to go and listen to the proposal because it's something to do with IT. Hey, Tony Pua, you last time do IT one, right? I don't know IT. You go and listen lah. So I go and listen to IT law. So the proposal come, and then the proposal was useless. I cannot tell him your proposal is useless. So I say, we think about it lah. I update my boss first, then maybe he come back to you. But because we did not accept the proposal, Tony Pua, arrogant. And every time we receive a proposal that is, hey, this proposal can do lah, okay? But we tell the businessman, if we were to do, we do open tender. The face become black. When we say open tender, it's like we scold the businessman in foul language. The face becomes very black. How come you open tender one? Last time Barisan Nasional, we can directly go. We can talk. What you want, I give you. You give me contract lah. But under Pakatan Harapan, under Lim Guan Eng, under Tony Pua, tak ada open tender. One of the proudest achievements I have in MOF while we were in Pakatan Harapan is we eliminated direct negotiations by MOF with the exception of national security in contracts that affects very sensitive matters in the country. But once the government fell, under the current government, even under the current Tengku Zafrul as the finance ministers, all the direct negotiation contracts have come back into the picture. So I can tell you that being in government was not easy. It was not easy because we faced many challenges. There were many hurdles in place. No? We have hurdles within the coalition. We have difficulties convincing some of our partners. We have hurdles within the civil service. Sometimes not because they are opposed to us, but sometimes because they are used to doing things the way they are used to do. If we want change, it's not so easy to change. We have hurdles, to be frank, with the rakyat, because sometimes it is difficult to explain issues in a rational manner to the people because they want things, people want things today. But we persevered, we continued. For me, as being mentioned just now, there was a period of time in government where people were asking her, hey, how come Tony Pua so quiet? Now I can tell you why. When we were in government, why Tony Pua needs to be a little bit quiet. Not entirely quiet, but needs to be a little bit quiet. I was the only political secretary. You boleh tanya sama Abang Mat, ataupun Gobin, ataupun Anthony Lok. Saya merupakan setiausaha politik yang terunggul, yang ditegur secara terbuka berkali-kali dalam mesyuarat kabinet. Betul tak? I was the only political secretary in government that was castigated several times by the Prime Minister himself in cabinet meetings for opening my mouth. That means, I mean cabinet meeting, I don't sit inside. He was scolding the cabinet about me, okay, talking outside, saying that I have no authority to speak. And the worst thing was, the issues that I was talking about was to defend the government. Number one, defend the government when we were negotiating with Gamuda. Number two, defend the government when we talked about the highway acquisition project out there. So for me, I've decided that I will talk less. I will focus more on work behind the scenes to deliver results and let results speak for themselves rather than trying to create problems for my bosses in cabinet. So that was one of the challenges that we face in cabinet, one of the challenges we face in government, one of the one of the real challenges we face in a coalition government. These are the challenges we face before. These may be the challenges we will face in the future. But these are challenges that we must persevere to overcome. So what I want to perhaps end, not quite end yet, but the last topic I want to actually talk about today is the fact that despite all these difficulties, despite all the challenges that we have faced, despite all the problems I talked to you about, why is it that we believe there is hope? I think all the speakers have spoken about it in their own way. I want to tell the story of hope in a way that is perhaps a little bit different. I want to compare hope with a topic that I'm somewhat more familiar with, the stock market. So I have the chart behind me, which is the NASDAQ, the stock market NASDAQ, US stock market NASDAQ performance this year. Very bad. From a peak of about 16,000 over points, it has dropped to barely 11,000 over points. Dropped more than 25%. I have a lot of personal money invested in Nasdaq stocks. Very painful for me this year. It feels like the defeat of Pakatan Harapan. No? It is depressing. You want to give up. You want to sell all your stocks because no hope already lah. Stock market crashing. Very bad. No? But I want to remind everyone, this is not the only stock market sort of correction or dip or downturn in the history of stock market. If you look at 2000 to 2002, which is about 20 years ago, same thing. You have got stocks reaching a high of 8,000 points, dropping to less than 2,000 points within 2 years. Suicidal. But if you look at it in the context you are in today, it is very depressing. If you were in 2001, 2002 then, it is suicidal. You know, you feel really bad, there's no hope. But if you look at a historical chart, over time, from 1990 all the way to 2000, then you get a slightly different picture. When I talk about 2022, we are looking at that tiny dip there. You're just looking at tiny dip there. This is what's happening this year only, 2002. In the context of over the last 20 years or 30 years. If you compare with the other period of time, 2000 to 2002. So what I'm saying is, if you are only involved in politics since 2008, like me, since 2008 joined elections, then you only see up all the way. You are used to up all the way. Wow, stock market keep going up all the way. And then suddenly the stock market seems like dropping. Wow, the earth is ending. Malaysia got no more hope. But if you really look behind over time, like this, which is 2021-22, the drop is even worse than what it was today. It is worse than what it was today. And just as well, in 1999, okay, Lim Kit Siang and Kapau Singh, our stalwarts, our heroes, they lost their parliamentary seats in 1999. So if you think that what we are suffering today in 2020 is bad, is hopeless, then when Kit Siang and Kapau Singh lost their seats in 1999, it was suicidal. There was no more hope then. So if you look at things from a larger context of things, actually, Malaysia is improving. We have gone through a lot of ups and downs, but we always rise higher. In the political landscape, we have had Gagasan Rakyat in the 1980s with Tengku Razaleigh. Then in 1999, we had Barisan Alternatif together with PAS and Anwar Ibrahim. And then after that, we have 2008, we have Pakatan Rakyat. And then in 2018, we have Pakatan Harapan. Every time we achieve greater heights than the coalition before. So if we take the context of history, we are suffering a setback today. But what we have achieved today, even after the setback, is way better than what Kit Siang and Kapau Singh were going through in their worst of times in their political career. We have taken many steps forward, we have taken some steps back, but we have moved forward, and I believe that with the support of everyone here, with the support of every Malaysian, by not giving up, by keep fighting, we will succeed once again to bring new heights, not to the stock market, but to the future of Malaysia. But it is not a given. Achieving greater heights for Malaysia is not a given. One of the critical success factors for Pakatan Harapan to succeed, whether in the next elections or the elections after, the critical success factor is the ability to attract smart people into politics. Now, many of you out there, you all complain all the time. Complain what? Why the bloody minister so stupid one? Can we get a smarter prime minister or not? No? These are the comments that you hear every day, whether in the coffee shop or on the golf course, scolding the bloody government, the bloody idiotic ministers. I want to tell you here why we have stupid ministers. And I'm going to concede that there are stupid ministers in BN, there are also stupid ministers in Pakatan Harapan. Just that BN one stupider lah. But there are stupid ministers everywhere. Why? The reason why we have stupid ministers is because the smart people in the country do not join politics. When smart people don't join politics, who becomes our prime minister? The stupid people lah. Right or not? To me, I got no other equation lah. If smart people don't join politics, who join politics? Stupid people lah. If stupid people join politics, who becomes our prime minister? Stupid people. This is the first time I say this in an open ceramah, but it is a statement I make in every meeting I have with young people out there, whether they are in university or whether they have just graduated and are looking for work. We have a culture of telling our children, please, whatever you do, whatever work you do, don't join politics. Politics is very bad. Politics is very dirty. Don't you dare join politics. I will object. This is what we tell our children. So what happens? All your 5-star students, all your top graduates of Petaling Jaya, all avoid politics like nobody's business, and then all your C class, D class, E class, F class students becomes cabinet ministers and the Prime Minister of Malaysia. So how? So it is important for every one of us. The old ones, sorry, no offense meant, perhaps a little bit late. But the young people of Malaysia, those under the age of 30 years old, those who have studied hard and become top, most qualified, most potential in their respective careers. Tell them politics is important. Tell them taking part in politics is a noble profession. Tell them that politics can change the future of Malaysia. Tell them that politics can make Malaysia the best country in this world, and you can play a part. Can or not? And if every one of you do that, and if more smart people join politics, then I am extremely certain, I am 100% certain, Malaysia will have a better future. We can win in the next general elections, and we can make Malaysia the proudest country in this entire world. Can? Can or not? Very lembek leh. Like that, no confidence really. But seriously, it is an important factor for the party, for all political parties in Pakatan Harapan, and to be honest, even for Barisan Nasional. Bring in good people with talent, with caliber, with experience, then we have a brighter future for Malaysia. I want to end by calling once again for everyone's support and assistance. Thank you so much for attending tonight's dinner. And as you know, the dinner, we don't make a lot of money. So for all of you who are here, I'm sure, hopefully not like me, didn't bring wallet, I'm sure you still have your wallet in your pockets. Take out your wallet, open it up, look at all the purple color notes that are in there. Take it out. Our volunteers are coming to each and every one of your tables. Put in all those purple notes into the donation box so that we in DAP, in Damansara, and in Pakatan Harapan can continue to fight for you, to help the people of Malaysia, to make the future better for you and me, for our children. Can or not? Can, huh? So our volunteers are streaming in now. Thank you very much for your generous support. One last advertisement before I hand you to our three heavyweight speakers after this. I have a book with me. This book is titled A Malaysian Artist's Visual Biography of Lim Kit Siang. It is authored by me, Tony Phua. It is a unique book. It is a written biography of Lim Kit Siang, written by me, but it is also a pictorial artist work. This book is a collection of 100 paintings by 80 Malaysian artists, including myself, chronicling the life and journey of Lim Kit Siang in Malaysian politics. So you get to read about him, his history, his background, his challenges, his sacrifices. At the same time, you get to enjoy the beautiful artworks by top Malaysian artists who have contributed to the collection. For those who want to visit, the paintings are hosted in Theatre Impian in Bukit Jalil. You can do a search on Google, Theatre Impian, and you will find the location for Theatre Impian. But first, I want to sell you this book. It is available in hardcover. Big book, hardcover is the best way to look at it, 128 ringgit. It is also available in paperback for 80 ringgit. And in this book, I have contributed a piece of artwork myself. If you have not seen it, this is the artwork. My Langkah Sheraton that I painted while I was in COVID, COVID quarantine. So I hope everyone will support this book. The proceeds or the profits generated from the book will go towards our campaign as well as maintenance of Theatre Impian. I'll be going around with this book to sign the book later to your tables. So please support generously. We hope that this is a start to many, many more dinners, as I mentioned earlier, and the start to kick off our campaign to win in the 15th general election. Thank you very much once again. Terima kasih. Salam sejahtera. Selamat malam.